TOA, Fit Body Forever, and Fit Body Bootcamp communities. What's up, everybody? I'm Robert Linkul. Welcome back, Training the Older Adult, and I am the Director of Education for Fit Body Bootcamp. Excited to be here with you all today. We are going to talk about, other than general locomotion, walking about, the number one most common movement performed on a daily life basis. Can you guess what it is? That's right. It's the sit to stand. You will see this abbreviated in multiple studies, STS, as we work our way through that. Sit to stand. In our shorthand, it is S with a 2 and then another S. Sit to stand. Anyway, just so you know where we're coming from. All right. Our good friends over at the Google with their AI component are able to collect a few things for us here upon our search. According to the research, a person typically performs between 45 and 70 sit-to-stand movements per day. Now, the average being 50, I don't think that's the center mean of 45 to 70. Wouldn't it be like 57, something like that? Anyway, depending on their lifestyle, their activity, how often they are, occupation, etc., that will dictate this, but just on average, okay, just the average individual out there, based on these studies and whatnot, performs about 45 sit-to-stands a day. So if you think about this, 45 a day times 7 days a week gives you, whatever it was, 200 and something or other, times 52 weeks out of the year, times the average person lives 77 years. So times 77, just for fun, is 1,260,000 something or others, right? Sit-to-stands. It's a lot. It's a lot of sit-to-stands. This is a very important movement pattern for us to train in the gym. And really it comes down to, in my personal opinion, 3 movement patterns that you could get away with just doing these 3 movements every single time you're in the gym and still grow a good, strong, capable body and stay upright and reduce your fall risk and do all the good things we always talk about. Of course, there's more movement patterns to train, and the more that you do that, the better things will be. But if you were just like, you know what, I got 20 minutes a day to commit to this. What are the 3 things? I got to do these 3 things. They're going to keep me capable. It would be hinges, so squatting, RDLs, swings, anything where you're breaking at the hip and or breaking at the hip and the knee, okay? Squats, deadlifts, etc., right? It would be some variation of a carry, a farmer carry, a suitcase carry, a Zercher carry, a goblet, etc., right? Some type of carry, and either a row or I would call it a posterior chain dominant movement. Snatches, high pulls, horizontal rows, face pulls, anything like that, where you're really targeting up, middle, center shoulder blades from the occipital protuberance, the bony part on the back of your head, down to your tailbone, anywhere around in there. You're targeting all that musculature. You're going to do just fine with all of that. Now, of course, it'd be great to have a overhead component. If you weren't doing snatches, it'd be, overhead pressing, etc. It'd be great to do some split squats and step with squat. There's other good stuff. I'm just saying, if we just looked at it and we were like, let's hinge, let's row, and let's carry. If we just did those 3 things, you would be fine. And that's the basis of every workout that we build. I got to get those 3 things in there. Now, we will kind of marry the loaded carry into lunges, split squats, drop steps, step ups, something along those lines, where we're mocking locomotion, right? Left, right, left, right, left, right. We're creating, we're walking back and forth, but we're not, okay? We're doing our lunges or we're doing our split squats, whatever it might be. But you have to hold that weight the whole time while you're doing it. So you're getting the value of the carry for the most part, right? We're not getting spatial awareness, that kind of stuff, when you're actually transferring back and forth, the proper pickup, the variables that you would do there, maybe the excessive load. We want some heavier load when we do carries. Outside of that, pretty close. So not every single workout has a carry in it, but a good chunk do, okay? And that's a good focus for us. Now, this study, granted, 10 years ago, okay, 2015, did the daily sit-to-stand performance by older adults. This is a systematic review. It had 10 different articles that they reviewed through this, and they just wanted to see, of all the research out there, what's kind of the common findings of the sit-to-stand, how often is it performed, etc. And as its conclusion, sorry, this is a little fuzzy, but it showcased through these 10 studies, it appears the average sit to stands performed daily is about 45 for individuals that are inside a community dwelling, right? They're most community dwelling individuals, and there are 10 studies providing that information to them. So if we know that the sit to stand is such a common performed movement that we're going to do it throughout our entire life, and then if what we would kind of consider the latter years of life, community dwelling, living individuals, if we're considering that the last, 20%, last 15% of life is in an environment like so, and they're performing 45 sit to stands a day, you would assume that people that are younger than that, more active and or have higher demanding jobs, et cetera, are performing even more than that. So if the bottom end, the low estimate is that you're going to perform 45 a day, and that you are going to, over your lifetime, put in close to 1.3 million sit to stands, if not a hell of a lot more than that, depending on how active you are. I'm probably at, 8 million at this point. Like literally, I squat and sit to stand and box squat and do this constantly. Just this morning, like once I started to read about this, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this video today. I just sat here and I went, how many times have I got up and sat down since I started this morning? So I was like once out of bed, once to the toilet, once in here to prep, once back inside to get my food and hydrate, and then came back in here, sat down, filled out all the paperwork for my workout, got up, did the workout, sat down and got up like 35 times just in the workout. We won't even count those, okay? Then sat back down to wrap things up, went back in, showered, got Keegan up, did all that, came back out here, got dressed, sat down. So I had 8 sit to stands before 5 a.m. So, I mean, I'm like, I don't know, what is that, 30%? I'm 20%? 20% of the way there by 5 a.m. Within 2 hours, I'm already there. Like the remainder of the day, as we work our way through this, like depending on the day and how active you are, Keegan, I've watched her get up and get down 100 times in a day. I mean, there's high demand for us to sit, stand, move, sit, stand, move. We do it all the time. Every time in and out of the car, off the toilet, from your desk, from the couch. Even getting up and down off the floor, you're still sitting down and then you're standing back up. Like all of these count, okay? So the sit to stand is a pretty vital component for us to train. I want to get into and share a couple of videos. These are, I'll call them like highlight reels, kind of like highlight reels of just a training montage, if you will, of my clients. And I like to marry these and kind of put them all together here to show you just some options, some things that you can do that help you in this. Now, notice here to start off, Frank, he's doing a Tilly, number one, take it, leave it. That means every other one he takes it, every other one he leaves it. So he gets to practice with load and then without load, with load and then without load. The kettlebell is on a 2x4, and that 2x4 or 2x6, that is purposely set up there to elevate the kettlebell 2 inches higher so he doesn't have to round over or hinge forward. Now he's got a little curvature to him now, but that's actually a huge improvement from where he was. We used to have to do 2 boards underneath him. Now we just do 1. And he's getting much better at this. Again, we're always trying to find like that progressive overload that's going to challenge. So now we carry over from the sit to stands into some of our carries. You see these proper pickups. We see a transfer. These loads are uneven. Do you know the average grocery bag? What does the average grocery bag weigh? Anybody want to take a guess? I'll give you 3 seconds. Take a guess. 9 pounds. That's right. So that means average, okay? Your grocery bags are going to be 7 to 11 pounds, somewhere in between there, about 9 pounds. How often are the 2 grocery bags that you're carrying bilaterally equal in load? Hardly ever, if not at all, right? Because unless you had 3 cans of Spam and 3 cans of Spam, 1 in each bag. I've never had Spam. I just said it because my in-laws love it. Then you could be like, I'm bilaterally loaded evenly right now. But the majority of stuff you get, you got all the fruit in this bag and you've got your canned foods in this bag. And you're like, bro, this one's twice as heavy over here. That's real life, right? We don't carry things that are bilaterally even and equal in load very often. And most of the time, we're unequally loaded. And so it's a good idea when you do carries like this. He's got 35 in one hand, 26 in the other. Okay, and then when we set them down and you turn around and pick them back up again, that's when you put the weight into the other hand. Sometimes picking the weights up off the floor challenging just in itself. So let's start down here on the ground, Okay, a little gorilla row. Let's start down here with this really good lower back position. Look at that lower back. Hips nice and low. Frank has Parkinson's, so this is a challenging position for him to maintain good foot ground contact, pushing his knees out, flexibility, engaging the hands. We're really trying to tax his nervous system by putting him into these hard positions. My kids are just home. It's Valentine's Day, so the party has started inside with the kids. And notice the weights too. Did you notice the weights are not even, right? Actually, they are. Never mind. We do. Way to go, coach. We will do this often too. We'll have an 8 kilo in one hand and a 6 in the other, and have them do, a set of 8, and then they'll spin around to the other side, stand on the other side, and then do 8 more. And that way they get the heavier load in one hand, one in the other. I really like to train with uneven loads. Okay. I thought that was an orange one on the other side. All right, here we go. Suitcase carries. So weight on one side, nothing on the other. I actually prefer this one over anything else. It helps a lot when you have an individual that wire walks, right? They're really unstable. So for them to be able to walk really efficiently, it's hard for them. If you give them a weight in each hand, they still kind of have like even weight, even-ish weight within a couple of pounds of each other. They can kind of use to balance them out. But if we have just 35 on one side, nothing on the other, they've really got to ground themselves, okay, to do this. All right, we talked about posterior chain. This is a great posterior chain option here that Joyce is doing. She has bands that are going to help her stabilize, but she still has to balance. She's doing a row as she pulls in. She's drop stepping, so we're practicing not falling backwards while having a stabilizer to assist her in doing that, but the stabilizer is not solid and in contact with something that if she pulls, she has immediate help. She has some help, but not immediate help. If she just leans back, she's going to fall down. But the bands are going to help her, give her some aid, but I want her to have that aid so she can take a bigger drop step than she normally would. It's actually deloading her. Does that make sense? As she goes down and back, the bands are pulling her up and forward. So it's pulling her into a better position. As she moves further away from it, the bands are helping lighten her up. It's going to help her get out of those struggled positions. So this is where her body can take a bigger step than she's capable of doing under her own power. And that's how we progressively overload. We train this with a little less of her body weight or a little bit of assistance so she can practice getting out of these positions, grow the strength and the ability to do it, recognize neuromuscularly that her body can do this action. And now the body remembers that neuromuscular patterning and goes, we've been here before. I know how to do this. If I have to drop step and throw my foot behind me because I'm falling, I know how to take a 2.5 foot step back and stop my fall and or at least slow my fall as opposed to just timbering and eating it, right? Like she is capable of now moving in this direction over and over again and displacing her feet. Different loaded transfers. Every time you got to hold it in a different position. Left hand, right hand, both hands, hold it on your hip, put it up on your shoulder. I don't care. They just got to hold it a different way each time, right? Okay, we're going to go on the left hand and we're going to do the right hand, right? And we're going to transfer all those weights from one side to the other. Here goes Kenton, right? Working on, he's got some lower back issues going on, working on these drop steps, trying to get his feet in good alignment. Check out Frank over there doing some goblet sit to stands, just holding a little sand bell against his sternum there. And then Joyce doing the pivot point, this overhead press position. This is how we got her shoulder that doctor said she'll never put her arm over her head again. This is how we got her shoulder stronger, is by doing this action right here. Okay, she has leverage that she can lean against while she presses to the overhead position. Lots of great practice in all these different positions. Here goes Frank on his different loaded variations. Okay, we've got 18, 26, 35, 44, and a 53-pound sand kettlebell that they get to manipulate here. And whichever direction I kind of tell him to go to, he's going to load in those directions. And I just continually kind of put the weights up there for him, okay? So there's our first one. I got one more to show you here, just to give you some more ideas of how this doesn't have to be the most sophisticated, most difficult styles of training. These are life movement patterns. These are regular movements that we do all the time. It's just how can we load them and progress them and build them in really good ways for our clients to address. Right hand, left hand, both hands progress. Right hand, left hand, both hands progress. And we ladder our way up from that 18-pounder all the way up to the 53-pounder, okay? Loaded drop steps, loaded variable drop steps and slams. Ooh, man. Power training, slamming things on the ground. Let's talk about training the neuromuscular system, the body's quick reaction. Hey, type 2 fibers, react. You have to react. You have to react now. You have to react quickly. Just because I'm slamming something down doesn't mean that that's the only direction that my muscles learn how to move quickly. They're learning how to move quickly in all directions right now simply because of the recruitment pattern. My brain sends that electrical signal that says, muscles move quick, and they move quick. I get to decide, is it down, up, forward, back, twisting, etc. But we're basically revving the engine every time we do this. The engine doesn't care which direction the car is going. All it knows to do is rev. So if you put it in drive and let's go forward, nope, let's put it in reverse, let's go backward, doesn't matter. Engine goes. If you hit the gas, I go fast. I don't care the direction. That's how power training works, more or less, for our bodies. If you can teach it to move dynamic and quick and explosive, it'll do that in pretty much any direction that you need it to. So because we're not going to do bounds and skips and plyo depth jumps off of boxes, how else can we move dynamic and quick? Well, we can slam things on the ground and we can throw them in the air, okay? These are two really good ways to teach our clients how to be powerful. Here's a dual pivot point, both arms going overhead, committing, leaning in, working our stretch, okay? Getting some more progressive here. We're just doing dual hands. It's a newer client to our practice, so not quite ready for the single arm deadlifts. So we just do a couple extra reps, but we do both arms. Good deload in between each one. Let's go. Re-engages, go. We get to practice. A first-time lift again, a first-time lift again, over and over again, as opposed to just touch and go. You're constantly tensioned. So that doesn't help us practice the single initial dead start pickup every time. Low angle rows, high rows, anything working on the posterior chain. You saw the different carries there. Now, lacrosse balls. This is awesome. Spatial awareness, recognition. You got people moving around you, all kinds of distractions. We have to throw and grab with our right hand for 20, throw and grab with our left hand for 20, and then crisscross. Right to left to right, right to left to right. They have to walk forward or backwards. Can't stop moving. Once they get going here, they got to keep moving. So they're moving about, no scoop catches. Throw, if they miss it and it goes running away on them, they have to pick it up properly. We can't just go chasing on their toes. They have to walk to it, squat down, properly pick it up, and then we return back to it again. Okay, going all over the place here, watching out for others. Here we go, overhead presses. Those that are capable, we've been working on this. Flywheels, look at the flywheels working here on the posterior chain. Look how much work they're getting. Okay, these hinged rows, you're working out in the garden, 6-point rows, etc. These are all daily life functional movement patterns. These are all really great ways to master the basics. And that's what this really comes down to. Can we hinge well? We got to do it at least 45 times a day. Can we pull things towards us and hold them in our hands over and over again? Can I carry it, walk about somewhere, suitcase carry to another location? Can I reverse my row and place something back and then hinge as I do that to place it down on the floor, on the counter, on the table? And then repeat it over and over again. That is what we do all the time, every day. I go grab my hinge, pick up my keys, I walk out to the car, I hinge, I get into the car, and I have a seat. And then I get up out of the car, I go grab dinner, I come back to the seat, I hinge and get in the car. We're doing this all day long. We pick up weight, we carry it somewhere else, we set it down, we go get something, we pick it up, we carry. This is life. So let's train to mimic a lot of that. And there's always room for all these other pieces to go in. But at the basics, what are the basics? Let me get really good at hinging. Let me get really good at pulling things towards me and holding onto them and then carrying them somewhere else. I think if you master those 3 movement patterns, practice those on a regular basis, 2-3 times a week, every other day, every 3 days, something like that, I think you would really do a great service for yourself, if you're a personal training client, or all you coaches out there for your community of people. All right, gang, any comments, questions? As always, hit me up down below. Feel free to share, to like, to help us grow the community here. We're always looking to help get this information in front of more people. So please help us share, and don't forget to ring the bell. Don't miss any of our other materials that we put out, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, continue to fight your good fight against sarcopenia. We appreciate you so much, and we will talk to you next time. Take care.